Hello and welcome to my presentation on social emotional learning and behavior. Okay, so here's my table of contents. I'll be introducing the statement of the problem, my hypothesis, and I'll be reviewing the literature on the topic. I'll be discussing the methods I utilized, the results, and I'll be reviewing my discussion of the projects. Okay, my introduction. My statement of the problem was, is there a direct correlation between an increase in social emotional lessons taught and behavior in a classroom of fourth grade students? My research hypothesis is an increase in social and emotional lessons taught will decrease the negative behavior in a classroom of fourth grade students. Okay, in review of the related literature, social skills instruction has been recommended as a way of improving behavior and social outcomes for students with emotional and behavioral disorders. I found this in a journal titled The Journal of Behavioral Education. And the literature continues on to discuss the positive results of an increase in social and emotional lessons taught. Students that have a positive social and emotional skills demonstrate a resiliency when confronted with stressful situations. Although social skills instruction is important for all students, it is particularly critical for students with learning and behavioral problems. As a group, these students tend to exhibit social skills deficits more frequently than their normally achieving peers. So, in other words, this literature shows the impact and the importance of teaching social skills, especially to students that have behavioral problems. All elementary schools should provide students with direct instruction in the area of learning-related social skills, and this direct instruction should take place across each grade level, beginning in kindergarten. Students who enter kindergarten already demonstrating a variety of severe self-regulation problems will not evidence meaningful improvements as a result of short-term behavior modification plans instituted in a single context, for example, within the classroom. To be effective, intervention strategies must be sustained across time, example, several months or years, implemented across different settings, for example, the classroom, lunchroom, playground, and home, and integrated so that the same behaviors taught in one setting are practiced and reinforced across different settings. Okay, so this literature states that in order for the social and emotional lessons to be effective, they have to be implemented in different settings and across a long period of time, several months and years, not just a few days or a few weeks. And they need to be practiced in different settings, not just in the classroom, but they also need to be reinforced at home, on the playground, and on the lunchroom. Okay, we'll move on to the method of my project. My participants were 22 fourth grade students. I had 12 girls and 10 boys participate, including myself. I was an active participant. The instruments utilized, parent-student consent forms, student questionnaire, and social emotional lesson materials from various sources such as the Teaching Tolerance website. That's where I looked for some lessons to teach students on social and emotional learning. Okay, my research design. I wanted to use blocking variables of self-reported race and gender and collect data by observing my classroom as I'm teaching, write field notes as I'm observing my students as an active participant observer. I will observe and record everything I can, administer a questionnaire and survey, and conduct informal ethnographic interviews of students. So unfortunately, due to school closures, I was unable to complete my research. I was able to teach the students a few social emotional lessons, but I would have liked to implement more lessons, and I was not able to conduct as many informal interviews of students or observations as I would have liked. So that definitely impacts the project. But again, I was able to put in what I can in this project. Continuing with the method, threats to external validity. So my students come from disadvantaged backgrounds, so that might have an impact on the results of the study. Threats to internal validity. History. Classroom disturbances such as fire drills, announcements, classroom visitors can affect the research. And students may not be honest on their survey when they answer their survey, so that definitely impacts the results of the project. Maturation. Students grow older during the study and mature in their behavior, which may affect the outcome of the study. Instrumentation. Implementation of different classroom management techniques may affect the results. And experimental mortality. Some students may be absent, so they will miss additional social emotional lessons implemented. Okay, the procedure of the method. The research was to be conducted between February and April. Unfortunately, the project was not completed because school closed in the middle of March. So I'm presenting the data that I have. In February, I gave out the parent-student consent forms, and a questionnaire was completed by the students. The end of February, beginning of March, I started to implement additional social emotional lessons taught 2 to 3 times a week for 3 weeks. Again, I was not able to complete the research, and I wasn't able to administer as many social emotional lessons I would have liked. But again, I did what I could. And in April, the objective was to give the students the questionnaire again after all of the lessons have been completed. But unfortunately, due to school closures, I was not able to implement that. Okay, here is a graph on the data on the social emotional skills that I was able to implement. So it states social emotional learning and behavior graph. Okay, a correlation between social skills, lessons, and behavior. So on the x-axis, you notice number of social skills lessons per week. So when I didn't implement any social skills lessons, the number of behavioral issues per week increased. So in other words, there was not a decrease in negative behaviors. You notice that same thing with only 1 or 2 social skills lessons per week. There was still a problem with behavior in the classroom. As I increased the number of social skills lessons per week, the behavior problems decreased. So that leads me to believe that I do think that implementing more social skills lessons does have an impact. However, other variables such as changing classroom management style and implementing new classroom management, as well as maturation of the students, and maybe the students were having more engaged in those lessons, and they're having better days on the days that I did implement the social skills lessons, all could have impacted the results of this study. And again, these were only over the course of a few weeks. It really would have been better, as the research stated, to continue this study over the course of several months or even years. and to not begin it in 4th grade, to begin the research and to begin these social skills lessons in kindergarten. Okay, the results. Okay, value of R, negative 0.6625. So this shows that there's a moderate negative correlation, so meaning there's a tendency for high X variable scores to go with low Y variable scores, which kind of shows in the graph. And the p-value is 0.152059, so the result is not significant at the p-value. Okay, in the discussion, I was unable to complete this project due to school closures, but I did notice in general, when I taught the students a few social skills lessons a week, their behavior was better than when no social skills lessons were taught. And again, the implementation of new and different classroom management skills may have also had an impact in the changes of behavior as well. I would have liked to implement more social skills lessons over a longer period of time to be able to determine whether they help my students show more respect towards others. Just like the research was stating, the more social skills lessons taught over a longer period of time, over the course of several months and years, is what needs to be implemented to really see an impact. In addition, I was unable to administer the post-survey after the social skills lessons were taught. That was supposed to be done in April, but due to school closures, I could not implement that. This information would have allowed me to see if the students felt more positive about their school climate and had an increase in empathy toward their classmates. I was also unable to examine the data to see if the blocking variables of race and gender had an impact over the results of the study because the study was not completed. Okay, on the following slides are just show my references to the literature. Thanks for watching.